I'm pretty emotional right now, guys. March 1st, 2024, Master Duel has introduced the greatest event, in my opinion, in the game's 1 year history, and that is the Time Travel 2004, where you're able to experience what Yu-Gi-Oh! Was like 20 years ago, back when I used to play. This is the format that I played back in high school. I loved this game. Unfortunately, I stopped playing when I went to school, university, but getting back into it, oh my goodness, I've played 5 duels already. And it's been great. Won all 5, of course, because we're not using those standard loner decks. We have built Chaos Control. Now, this isn't necessarily the best version you can build, because I am missing things from the OCG ban list, which is different than the list that we played. But I didn't put in Pot of Greeds and Heavy Storm because those are ultra rare cards that won't be used. I did craft a Snatch Steal, and I did craft a Change of Heart, because taking your opponent's stuff for the tributes does matter. Premature Burial also matters here, but I opted not to craft that either, because again, reviving from graveyard isn't necessarily as good as taking your opponent's monsters back in this format. But as you can see here, we're focused on the light and dark monsters, and yeah, this format is definitely different. You know, you couldn't play 3 DD Warrior Lady in TCG for the most part. I think Spirit Reaper was also limited to 1. You can put more than 1 copy in the OCG ban list. There is no Graceful Charity, Delinquent Duo, etc. So Night Assailant's viability is kind of limited, but it's still good for the flip effect. And the rest is pretty much self-explanatory. We're running some budget options like the Mobius, which is still a very good card, instead of Heavy Storms and Smashing Grounds. But overall, this is not a very expensive list. The only thing is I already had the Royal Rare from the 2nd anniversary event, Envoy at the beginning, so you just knew your boy had to build Chaos Control. The rest of it, yeah, pretty straightforward. We're not using the Metamorphosis or the Scapegoat combos because again, those are ultra rares. If you really wanted to see what a top tier Chaos Control deck, if you just have the cash to splurge, this is probably what you would want to build. It's a lot of ultra rares though that you won't be able to play outside of this event. So you can see here, I did go 41 cards. You can opt to play the Air Knight Parshath or not. I used to like this card back in my day because you can draw cards off of it, which is insane. But yeah, double Spirit Reaper, double Night Assailant Still, double Blade Knight, Breaker, Tribe Infecting Virus, DD Warrior Lady. Also, some cards apparently won't work the same way as they worked back then, like Sinister Serpent and Ring of Destruction. So we're not running Sinister Serpent in this build, but obviously you would run that with the Metamorphosis, another way to get into your Thousand Eyes Restrict. Same with the Scapegoats, metamorphosing one of those to get into TER. Creature swapping your goats around, getting opponent's monsters for free, being able to play 2 Rhoda and triple DD Warrior Lady and the Blade Knights for search targets. You could also play Exiled Forest. This card was played a little bit in the meta as well. Oh, it's limited to 1. There you go. Shows you how good it was back in the day. Basically a trade 1-for-1 when you summoned it. Took up your summon for the turn, but, you know, took out an opponent's threat. Jinzo was also very powerful in this format. And yeah, your traps here. I'm surprised also Mirror Force is banned. But yeah, I guess that's how it was in the OCG. So you had your staple traps here. Magic Cylinder and Ceasefire were okay, unless, you know, I wouldn't really run them unless you were focusing more on a burn strategy, which is a viable strategy for this, because I think Stealth Bird is legal and so is Gravity Bind and Level Limit Area B. Yeah, so like you could run a burn strategy, but overall, man, like, yeah, I'm probably talking too much. You guys want to see some matches, right? Let's get into some games. Oh my goodness, guys, you have no idea how fun I find this format. It is the greatest, man, honestly. Master Duel, Konami, if you're listening, if you watch this video, make this a staple in the game, man. Just let people play this infinitely, like, please. No duel rooms, let's just actually play it. Anyways, in this matchup here, the opponent has their own custom deck, not using a loner, and the Goblin Attack Force / Warrior Aggro deck was a thing, but it, you know, it still lost to Chaos Control, so it wasn't really played all that much. We Breaker away a Solemn, and you know, the opponent shouldn't really Solemn the Breaker because, you know, it's not worth half your life points. And back in the day, like, Solemn Judgment wasn't really played. You can check deck lists from Sonen Jump Championships back then. The life points actually mattered back in the day. Regardless, so we're able to bait the Book of Moon into the Goblin Attack Force there. The opponent sets a Man-Eater Bug, and then we're able to tribute the Breaker for the Zaborg, take out the Man-Eater Bug, and then crash over the Goblin Attack Force, set our Sekaretsu armor, and we are in very good shape. I was testing Jinzo in this build as well. I've since taken it out, but it's a good card to run. We're going to beat over the opponent's set card, and it is a DD Warrior Lady, which will banish my Zaborg, unfortunately. We're just going to end, no point in setting the second Sekaretsu, because again, you're not worried about your opponent special summoning and doing all this stuff really. It's usually just one normal summon at a time. So because the game is in a slower format, I don't want to play into something like a Heavy Storm. Not really at risk in playing into a Mobius since the opponent didn't have a card to set in Tribute, but you know, we're just playing it safe. We're going to activate the Rhoda here, and I probably should have gone for a Blade Knight, but no, the DD Warrior Lady is actually probably correct, because it also represents the ability to banish something. I can either crash it or whatever the opponent crashes into it, but I'm going to opt to try to save my DD Warrior Lady, hence the set Sekaretsu armor. Seeing the opponent on 3 set cards though, I'm going to bring out the Jinzo. Now this would be a good target to Solemn Judgment if the opponent had it, and I beat over a Swarm of Scarab. This card also did not really see play because you had to manually flip summon it in order to get the effect, and you can change it back to face down. So you'd usually want to play that with like an air quotes floodgate from back in the day, like a gravity bind or something. But that's why I went into the Jinzo, because I saw the opponent had a set 3, and I was like, yeah, I'm not really keen on letting you get those traps off, so I'm just going to bring out my Jinzo now. We also have a set Book of Moon, which is usable under the Jinzo. The opponent ends up scooping it up there, realizing they cannot play through the Jinzo and the Tribe Infecting Virus, and that is the first match. I'm not gonna lie guys, I might end up playing 100, maybe 150, even more if I can, matches in this format. That's how much I love it. Starting off, we've got, oh my goodness, the ideal Gravekeeper Spy and the Dust Tornado. Take out the back row and get a free search to get our Monarchs off, but the opponent has the answer in the Nobleman of Crossout, a staple back in the day. This guy apparently does not play GOAT format very much, because yeah, you definitely wouldn't want to do that right now. But hey, we'll take it. So this sets up, this board state basically tells me that you can't do anything, because TER, when you read it, other monsters on the field cannot change their battle positions or attack. So this card on the field is stalling for me. You can't do anything with this card. I can set a card and you can take it, that's fine. I'll just wait, I'll set this, let you take it, and then I'll just wait to draw another monster, because unless you draw an out to tribute this, I'm totally fine. And yes, you have Royal Decree up, but as soon as I get this Mobius on the field, I'll take out that Royal Decree. So they're running the Horus loner deck here. And yeah, you can see the opponent kind of screw themselves. They could, off their own Tribe Infecting though, discard and call Spellcaster, which would kill the TER. But we're going to breaker away the Royal Decree most likely. Yeah, because we don't want to take away our own monster, since TER can only be equipped with 1 monster at a time. And now we have a Tribute monster on board that we can use with the Mobius. But we're not even going to bother. We're just going to Torrential on the summon of the Fusilier Dragon here. And then we top deck MST, and the opponent ends up scooping it up. So despite not really getting our engine going, you can just see, you know, the different mindset that you need to play GOAT format. Alright, in this next matchup here, we draw into double Mobius and a Magician of Faith in our opening hand. And this is actually not too great if the opponent is on the Horus deck, because they actually don't play any back row, but the other loner decks do. So they start off with a MST on our Book of Moon, and that's not great, but the normal summon of Luster Dragon reveals that they are likely on that Horus deck, and the Bottomless Trap Hole takes care of that, no problem. We draw into our second Magician of Faith, and we only play 2, so we're just going to set it and pass. We have the Smashing Ground, and we don't want to waste our Mobiuses just yet. We want to save them to actually take out the Royal Decrees that the opponent might set. The Fusilier Dragon will beat over our first Magician of Faith, which will grab us back our Book of Moon, and we end up surviving with 1 Magician of Faith left set on the field. The opponent opts still not to set any cards. We're just going to Smash and Ground away the Fusilier Dragon, set the Book of Moon once again, and pass turn. The Change of Heart here is pretty good. You can see why if you watch the beginning portion of the video where I talk about why I opted to crash Change of Heart and the Snatch Deal, is because crafting those is more important for this event than like the recursion, like Premature Burial, because taking your opponent's monsters is more important. And Change of Heart can also target face down cards, whereas Snatch Deal just takes face up. But Change of Heart is also not banned in the game anymore, right? Snatch Deal is, but I think it got unbanned in TCG actually. Anyways, we're going to be able to Book of Moon the TER and then flip our Magician of Faith to get it back, and then we get back the Book of Moon and then beat over the TER. So you can see, like, being a GOAT format player myself, like remembering these old things from back in the day 20 years ago actually pay off here, and I'm able to get some nice advantage by knowing these interactions over my opponent here. So yeah, we're going to end up Book of Mooning the card to play around the Snatch Deal as well. The opponent opts to take back the Snatch Deal once again, and I'm like, okay, I think they played Pot of Greed too, right? You should have definitely took him back to Pot of Greed, but I guess, you know, in the loner deck, what really are you going to draw to out this? They know we have the Book of Moon, which played around the Snatch Deal the first time, but anyways, they're going to set a card and pass. I'm going to Rhoda for a DD Warrior Lady, And normally, you know, it would be good to Rhoda for a Blade Knight if you had nothing on field, because Blade Knight does negate flip effect monsters, which was relevant at the time, back in like 2004, 2005. They're going to off the Snatch Steal. We're going to Book of Moon once again. We have Call of the Haunted to get back that Mobius if they beat over it, but they cross out it, and that's totally fine. They're going to get rid of all their resources via the Trap Infecting Virus and beat over, or just beat into our life points, sorry, by outing our DD Warrior Lady, so it prevents the banishing of it. The Book of Moon here is really interesting. I'm actually going to normal summon my own Trap Infecting Virus and pass and see if the opponent wants to crash, and then just Book of Moon their tribe, but they opt to activate the effect instead. So I don't know if they thought that it was only my side that gets destroyed, but I was going to Book of Moon my own Tribe Infecting, and then they just end up destroying their own. So I think they end up scooping once they see that, and yeah, that is the match. And then just for giggles and good measure, I opted to try out the Horus deck in the event as well, because this deck, when you actually like understand the effects of how these cards work, you can actually lock down all spells and all traps. The Horus level 8 locks out all spells, and the Royal Decree will lock out all traps. So we start off with a Heavy Storm, getting a Torrential and a Sakuretsu armor, which is really good. The opponent is also on a loner deck in the Gadget deck, which is actually a good deck. The Gadget deck, you have to build it yourself for it to actually be good, because all these loners are deficient in some way. But the Gadget deck actually was the deck that won the Nationals that I went to in 2007. Dexter Dialet won that one. Playing 3 Shrink and all the Gadget monsters. Card Trooper and stuff was legal back then as well. Oh man, you can be playing. There's so many cool things that you can do in this format. Oh my goodness, I wish I could do it. I should have MST'd before Snatch Dealing there. I think I misclicked or something. But yeah, this is not really the strongest position to be in, but it's workable. The Snatch Steal is going to gain them the life points. They summon Mechanical Chaser, and I'm just like, yeah, that's really crappy. So what I should have done in this next thing here, since I know they have 3 cards in hand, and again, they're not on obviously any major like spells or traps, I should have crashed the Breaker here, so when they attack into the Magician of Faith, I would be able to get back the Snatch Steal and take the Mechanical Chaser. But because I don't do that, I am not able to get back the Snatch Steal, and now I'm stuck with Heavy Storm. So yeah, I'm in a really bad spot here because I need to top deck like a Tribute monster, and I top deck a Tribute monster, but not the one you need, because this one requires 2 tributes, and the Change of Heart won't do it there. So I just pass, knowing that the Scapegoat will save me. The opponent top decks a Pot of Greed, which is really nice there. Summons a second Mechanical Chaser, and now I'm just like, okay, I might actually lose. This is why I should have stuck with my deck. They're beating over all of my Scapegoat tokens, and this Horus loner only plays 1 Scapegoat, by the way. So you can see, like, yeah, there's just deficiencies all around, right, with this with these loners, but that's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to be deficient decks. Like, there's a lot of good decks you can actually just craft, to be honest, for really cheap. Like, you are missing some of the staples. Like, you're not going to craft Pot of Greed and stuff probably, but like, you can build a burn deck really effectively. You can build a Soul Exchange, what we call Soul Control, or like Soul Exchange Monarch. You can build Chaos Control, like you saw what I'm doing. We top deck a Horus level 6 though, which is really good. We're going to play the Heavy Storm, use the Horus level 6 after Change of Hearting one of the opponent's Mechanical Chasers, and beat over something. And now we're going to bring out the Horus level 8 and set the Royal Decree. Now the opponent can't really take this out at all. And on end phase, I'm going to activate Royal Decree to prevent any traps that are set from being activated. Because even if they have Heavy Storm or MST, the Horus level 8 will negate it. So I don't know if there's anything in this opponent's deck that can beat what I have on field here. I don't know if the Gadget deck can beat it, because yeah, all spell, like they can only deal with it with monster effects. So like if you're playing my deck, like the Chaos Control deck, you have like Tribe Infecting Virus, you have Chaos Sorcerer, Blackluster Soldiers, the Borg. Like, you have a lot of things that can out this combination of field, right? As soon as you clear the Horus level 8, it frees up all of your spells. Now you can like MST, the Royal Decree, etc. So yeah, we top deck a Luster Dragon here, and now we're just piling on the pressure. The opponent can't activate traps, which they probably have set there, because I think the Gadget deck is very heavy on the traps, and the Horus deck is just locking them out of all spells as well, or the Horus level 8. The opponent ends up scooping after I draw, and yeah, the Horus deck came in clutch after top decking that level 6 Horus Dragon.